Have you ever wondered what the silence of an old tree whispers if you put your ear to its bark? I met a woman named Vivian, lived at the edge of town where the asphalt crumbled into gravel and the houses wore their age like badges of honor. Her place was small, almost swallowed by a riot of ivy, but the window boxes blazed with defiant color. I was there to write a story about her. They said she had lived a life less ordinary, a life brimming with adventure and anchored by a quiet, profound knowing. I wanted that knowing for myself, a roadmap for the years stretching out before me, a compass pointing towards true north. Vivian was small, almost fragile, but when she looked at you, her eyes, the color of polished jade, held you captive. She moved. Slowly, deliberately, each gesture a small ceremony. Her hands, gnarled and spotted, told stories all their own. Picking at the frayed edge of the antique quilt draped across her lap, she asked, "What makes you think I have something worthwhile to say, child?" I told her the truth, that I felt lost, adrift in a sea of choices, pulled this way and that by expectations, by the relentless hum of the modern world. "I'm looking for serenity," I confessed, the word feeling clumsy and inadequate. Vivian smiled, a network of wrinkles deepening around her eyes. "Serenity isn't found, dear. It's grown, like a garden, and gardens require tending." She glanced out at the explosion of blooms outside her window. "Tell me, what are you tending now?" I hesitated. "My career, I suppose. My relationships. The endless pursuit of more. Everything, I guess." Vivian said, her voice laced with understanding. "And nothing, perhaps. Spreading yourself too thin is a sure way to starve the things that truly matter." She began to tell me about her life. Not in grand pronouncements or sweeping narratives, but in fragments, in evocative snapshots. She spoke of her years as a nurse in a war-torn country, the stench of fear and antiseptic clinging to the air, the faces of the wounded etched in her memory. She described the man she loved and lost too soon, the way the sun caught the copper in his hair, the sound of his laughter echoing in the empty chambers of her heart. She talked about the joy of raising her children, the messy, imperfect beauty of it all, the constant push and pull between letting go and holding on tight. Not all of the memories were joyful. There were failures, mistakes, moments of crushing regret. One story stood out. When she was a young woman fresh out of nursing school, Vivian had been assigned to care for a wealthy, elderly patient. He was cantankerous and demanding, forever ringing his bell and complaining about the smallest things. He treated her with disdain, barely acknowledging her presence. One day, in a fit of frustration, Vivian had snapped at him, telling him he was a miserable old man and no one could possibly like him. The words, once spoken, hung in the air, thick with shame and regret. She had expected him to explode with anger, to demand her dismissal. Instead, he had simply looked at her, his eyes filled with a profound sadness. "You're right," he had said, his voice barely a whisper. "I am." Vivian paused, her gaze fixed on some distant point. "That moment changed me," she said. "It taught me the power of words, the wounds they can inflict, the bridges they can burn. But it also taught me something more. It taught me about empathy, about seeing beyond the surface, about understanding the pain that often lies hidden beneath a prickly exterior." As the days turned into weeks, our conversations continued. I would arrive at Vivian's little house, notepad in hand, eager to glean more of her wisdom. But she rarely offered advice directly. Instead, she shared stories, parables drawn from the rich tapestry of her life. She showed me her photographs albums, faded images of people and places I had never known, each picture a portal to another time, another world. She taught me how to knit, the rhythmic click of the needles a soothing counterpoint to the anxiety swirling in my head. She showed me her garden, explaining the names and habits of each plant, the secrets to coaxing life from the stubborn earth. One afternoon, I found her sitting on her porch swing, gazing out at the sprawling oak tree in her front yard. Its branches, thick and gnarled, reached towards the sky like supplicating arms. "That tree," Vivian said, following my gaze, "it's seen a lot of seasons, a lot of storms." "It looks so strong," I said. "It is," Vivian replied, "but strength isn't about resisting the wind. It's about bending with it, about weathering the storms, Anne." still standing tall when the sun comes out again. I had been so focused on finding answers, on seeking guidance, that I had failed to notice the subtle shifts happening within me. The relentless hum of anxiety had begun to quiet, replaced by a sense of groundedness. I was still unsure of the path ahead, but I no longer felt adrift. I was becoming more aware of the small joys, the everyday miracles that had always been there, waiting to be noticed. The warmth of the sun on my skin, the laughter of children playing in the park, the unexpected kindness of a stranger, the quiet satisfaction of a job well done. One day, I confessed to Vivian I had a secret I'd not spoken. When I was in college, I had written a short story I felt proud of, and I had submitted it to a literary magazine. I was rejected with some harsh words from an anonymous editor. The criticism stung so badly that I stopped writing altogether. Now, having spent time with Vivian, I found I had something to say again, but was scared to start. Vivian raised an eyebrow. "Fear is a funny thing," she said. "It can paralyze you, keep you stuck in the same place. But it can also be a motivator, a catalyst for growth." She paused, her eyes twinkling. "Tell you what, I have a challenge for you." She pulled an old, dusty box from under her porch. Inside, nestled among faded ribbons and dried flowers, were dozens of handwritten letters. They were from her late husband, written during his time overseas. "I want you to read these," she said. "Choose one that speaks to you. And then write a response, not to him, but to yourself. Write about what that letter makes you feel, what it makes you remember, what it makes you hope for." I hesitated. The task felt daunting, intensely personal. "I don't know if I can," I said. "Of course you can," Vivian said, her voice firm. "You just have to trust yourself. Let the words flow. Don't worry about being perfect. Just be honest." That night, I sat at my kitchen table, surrounded by the yellow letters. I read them, slowly, carefully, each word a window into a different time, a different world. Finally, I chose one. It was a letter he had written just before a major battle. He wrote about his fears, his hopes, his love for Vivian. He wrote about the simple things he missed, the smell of her perfume, the taste of her cooking, the sound of her laughter. Tears streamed down my face as I read his words. I closed my eyes and imagined him, young and brave, facing the unknown with only his love to guide him. And then I began to write. I wrote about my own fears, my own hopes, my own loves. I wrote about the dreams I had abandoned, the passions I had suppressed. I wrote about the things I wanted to do, the person I wanted to become. I wrote about the importance of living fully, of embracing the present moment, of not letting fear hold me back. When I finally finished, hours later, I felt exhausted, but strangely liberated. The words had poured out of me like a dam bursting after a long drought. I had faced my fear, and it had lost its power. I brought the letter to Vivian the next day. I was nervous, uncertain of what she would say. But when she read it, her eyes softened. She didn't offer any critique, any advice. She simply smiled. "You see," she said, "you had the answers all along. You just needed someone to help you ask the right questions." The story I wrote about Vivian wasn't the one I had originally intended. It wasn't a collection of profound insights or a step-by-step guide to achieving serenity. It was simply a story about connection, about the power of intergenerational friendship, about the importance of listening to the whispers of the old trees. Vivian taught me that wisdom isn't something you acquire, it's something you cultivate. It's about learning to see the world with new eyes, about finding beauty in the ordinary, about embracing the imperfections and the inevitable losses that come with age. It's about understanding that life isn't a destination, it's a journey. And the most important thing you can do is to keep walking, to keep learning, to keep growing, even when the path ahead is uncertain. A few months after I finished writing my story, Vivian passed away peacefully in her sleep. I was heartbroken, but I also felt a deep sense of gratitude. I had been given the gift of her friendship, the gift of her wisdom, and now it was my turn to share it with the world. Still visit her little house at the edge of town. The ivy continues to climb, the window boxes continue to blaze with color. I sit on the porch swing beneath the sprawling oak tree and listen to the wind rustling through its leaves, and I hear whispers of the secrets Vivian shared with me, the secrets that have helped me to grow my own garden of serenity. The silence is no longer intimidating now that I know what to look for. It's a living library whispering the enduring human story of resilience and grace. It's saying, tend to your garden. The one with thorns might hold the sweetest roses,